What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 beta. I just spent the last couple hours playing it, and I'm very interested in some of the changes they've made, but there's also some stuff in this that's rather confusing. My biggest fear going into this is that it would basically just feel like big DLC for Black Ops 3, when in actuality, they definitely altered the gameplay enough that this feels like a new game. But there is a big flaw, which is the fact that when Black Ops 4 comes out, it is not going to have single player. There will be no story, there will be no campaign, which means that this beta is pretty much a giant slice of the final game, giving us a good chance to see what the new specialists are going to be like, how these new modes play, and what the maps are like. And I have to say that overall I am impressed, but also slightly worried. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start off by talking about the moment-to-moment gameplay, because in general, this is where COD is most important. Being able to aim and shoot at the random people who cross your path is the most important aspect of any shooter. So I have to say that they definitely sped things up. I mean, a lot. Time to kill is extremely short. You can put people down with just a couple bullets, and if you manage to do something like get a sniper rifle, you can actually one-shot some enemies. So it seems like they're trying to make it where everything is always kill, 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 run, run, run. They've also upped the general movement speed a humongous margin. While there's no longer things like jump jets, you can still slide across the floor and run at incredibly high rates. And even though these new maps are quite a bit bigger, they actually feel smaller, which is a very weird touch. Essentially, it seems like they tried to make it so there are more places to get into firefights, but since we all run so fast, we end up getting stuck in the same 3 or 4 spots on every single map, and that definitely seems like a problem that needs to be fixed. There's also a really big problem, which is probably the #1 thing that annoys the heck out of me in this, which is that there is a lot of spawn camping. They definitely screwed up something fundamentally with how you respawn on this, and I think that part of it is the fact that you can run and kill so fast. Basically, since the game tries to normally try and balance out where you spawn by alternating where your team shows up, since everybody can just run across the entire map though in a half a second, no matter where you appear, you're probably going to be right next to somebody with their gun already aimed at your head. This thankfully doesn't happen a ton, but when you start getting spawn camped, it basically means that that entire match is now ruined, and it's very aggravating when it happens. Something they've done though that's probably the biggest change for the better is there is no longer auto healing. Now, whenever you're hurt, you actually have to tap L1 to start your healing. Now, this is spectacular because it dramatically changes the meta. You can no longer just try and camp in a corner and shotgun people, because each time you get hit, you're going to have to take a moment at least to shoot yourself in the arm and let your healing begin. It definitely seems like they've tried to do this to make it where people are going to have to stay more moving. You can't just stay in a corner and try and camp. You need to be moving, that way you can constantly try and take down a target, run into hiding, heal yourself, and take out the next target. And it's something that works very differently and builds up a new style of rhythm, but once you get the hang of it, is really good. I feel like when people are trying to defend a point in the middle of a area that has like a car that's flipped over or something, this new cycle of trying to fight, reload, and then heal is really spectacular, and this fits in really well with the other giant change to this game, which is specialists. Now, we have had specialists in previous Call of Duties, but here, not to be over dramatic, they are 99% of the battle. You definitely need to practice and figure out which specialist works best for you. Now, here's the thing, in many ways, it very much reminded me of Overwatch. Not in gameplay style, but in the fact that you sort of go into battle and you need to practice a particular specialist and learn to utilize their skills. It's really kind of a hero class, and each one works very differently, allowing you to do stuff like put down barbed wire that can kill people, to basically stop people from walking through a particular nuclear doorway, or somebody who can deploy drones that will electrocute and stun people, or somebody who can drop ammo packs on the ground that give you extra strong bullets. Each one of these people is very, very unique, but actually very well balanced. This was by far my biggest fear when I initially saw the Specialist trailer, is that some would be way stronger than others, but that's not really the case. Each one has really clear strengths and weaknesses, and as long as you learn your class well, you can use them in really smart ways. I found myself trying to experiment with the different ones because I like that each one seems to have their own style of killing. Like, one of them that was really cool to me is this person who actually can throw these cluster grenades every 15 seconds. Now, throwing these into a hallway is cool because it can kill people, but it'll also disarm traps. You can do stuff like blow up somebody's trip mine or take out somebody else's ammo pack to make it where the people who are trying to camp out inside of a point will now be a little bit more desperate to come out and fight you. And then, as she charges up and gets more kills, you get a grenade launcher which just ruins people. This thing is so cool, and I like this extra because it feels like a secondary style of kill streak. For the most part, we've definitely seen the fact that better players end up getting a ton of kill streaks. If somebody is really, really skilled, of course, they're going to be dropping people 5, 10 at a time. So they're going to be calling in helicopters or basically getting UAV every 15 seconds. Well, with this system of having a style of building up a special between lives, I definitely think that they've introduced this to counteract that. Now you're able to basically, as long as you're doing decently, you are going to get a super weapon periodically, and you can use it to kill the best players. It definitely feels like a way of trying to level the playing field, and in many ways, I really, really dug it. Especially some stuff like the guy who can put down a huge shield that shoots microwave radiation out the front. If you set this thing in a doorway and somebody is trying to rush you and you know they're coming, it's so cool to be able to put that right in their path and boil their blood. It not only is going to end their kill streak, but is now going to make it where your entire team is not going to have to deal with some giant annoyance like a nuclear bomb falling out of the sky. Something else about the Specialists that I think is some really smart design is that you can't all be the same one. The game actually forces your team to try and choose different Specialists, that way you're not all just stacking up your abilities. And I like this because it makes it where you can better complement each other. Like, at one point, everybody on my team was very, very hardcore Specialists and were zipping around using the grapple hook talent and stuff, and I decided to be somebody whose special ability made it where I could shoot a little dart and it would send out a sonar wave that basically made it where we could see through walls and made it where we could see behind us when these dudes were trying to sneak up behind us. It really made it where we could whiz around, turn on them, and get a bunch of kills. Really, by being forced to pick a different class that normally was outside my comfort zone, it ended up leading to us winning this entire round. So many times I really kind of got drawn into the fact that this game definitely seems like it's trying to evolve the Call of Duty formula, but that's not to say that everything is fantastic. I have to say that more than anything, I hate the Nomad class. Playing as it is fun, but it is so overpowered when it gets its special. You summon a dog that can go around and one-shot people, but on top of that, this dog is wearing a bulletproof vest, which means that it can take people out, usually 3 or 4 at a time before it can be stopped. The fact that this canine has become a super weapon drives me crazy. Seriously, screw this dog, screw this dog, screw this dog. Okay, I'm being a little bit over the top, but it just gets under my skin to watch it just kill so many of my teammates, and then when one of my buddy gets it out, I can watch it run over and get like 10 kills sometimes, if people aren't being careful to focus fire it down. I definitely think that some of the maps are also really poorly done. Some are spectacular. I definitely think that running around in the snow and trying to guard this nuclear reactor, that is awesome, but then other maps are so tiny that you can't help help but be spawn camped. I mean, if I am trying to rush a point and it's going to be 10 feet from where I spawn no matter what, I'm going to end up accidentally walking into the enemy spawn zone. This game is such a mixed bag of good and bad, flaws and sparkling gems. But thankfully, it is several months before it comes out. We're definitely going to have a chance to see a different game when it finally releases in October, so I'm glad they did this pretty early on, but still, it makes me slightly worried. I'm still not sure that it was a good move trying to make a Call of Duty that is purely multiplayer. No campaign is something that sticks in the back of my mind as something that may be a little bit annoying because it's going to make the game feel a little bit slimmer. But we are going to be getting another beta for Blackout coming up in a few months, so I'm excited to try that as well. But how about it? Have you played in this beta, and what are your thoughts? Tell me all about them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a big favor, give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.